I'll be honest, when I was making my goals for 2026 at the end of last year, I was not considering leaving eXp Realty and the brokerage that I'm at. I've been at eXp Realty almost 5 years now. In March will be 5 years that I've been here, and I've been happy. And switching a brokerage isn't something I take lightly. I am definitely not that agent that brokerage hops because they think that changing a different brokerage is going to make them more successful. First and foremost, it's going to be on you. If you are successful at one brokerage, you're more than likely going to be successful at another. So I don't brokerage hop. But in this video, I'm going to give you my honest thoughts on why I'm considering leaving eXp Realty and what has led to the point of me even considering leaving to somewhere else. And I get it, change is hard, change is frustrating, and a lot of times throws a wrench in your plans, especially when you're busy and you have deals going on. But that doesn't mean that we should stay where we are just because change is something that's scary or hard in our lives. So after 5 years at eXp Realty, I'm finally considering leaving. And if you feel the same way, if you're kind of stuck, whether it's eXp or any other brokerage, you can take a lot of the things I am saying today, try to consider your specific situation and see if it's the right time for you to move on or consider somewhere else. So why am I thinking about leaving? This is not going to be an eXp bashing video. I love eXp. I have met a ton of great people there, and there's a lot of things to enjoy and like about eXp, but it wasn't one specific thing that happened. It was a ton of little things that happened over time. Over the last 8 to 12 months, a lot of things have happened in my business that I felt that I haven't had the tools or the resources, or honestly, the tools or the resources were there, but they weren't exactly what I wanted or what fit my business personally, and I was left kind of doing my own thing or figuring my own thing out. Being in eXp for 5 years, my needs when I first started eXp and my needs today are completely different. I was a solo agent when I first started. Now I have a business partner. We have a small team. So being the leader of a team, my needs have evolved and grown compared to when I first started. And I'm a very loyal person by nature. And as time has gone on, the little frustrations have popped up here and there. And I started to think, maybe it's not that eXp is bad. eXp is not bad, but maybe I've just outgrown what it offers, or I've outgrown, how I built my business at eXp, and I started to consider looking at other options. And as I started to consider other options, this is the next section, is basically the fears that have come up, right? And there's a lot of fears with changing a brokerage. One of the main things is every brokerage, or, it's always greener on the other side, and I don't want to make the switch just to either stay the same or go worse, right? Because when somebody's recruiting you, or when somebody's like, hey, you should join a brokerage because it has X, Y, and Z, it always sounds better than what you have. But the reality is that usually it's not worth the hype. So I was not going to make a change, or I was not going to go to a different brokerage if I just stay the same. What's the point of making change if my business is going to stay the same, the support's going to stay the same, so on and so forth. So I had to make change if it was going to be way better. So that was my first fear that I had to kind of think through and overcome. Another fear that I have was the revenue share that I built at eXp Realty. Let's be honest, that's something that's important to me personally. I do like the revenue share side of things, but it's not just the income that you make from it, it's the people that I have brought over to eXp. A lot of these people are my personal friends. So another fear of mine was like, maybe I am leaving these people behind, or maybe I recruited them, over the years, over the 5 years that I've been at eXp, and I feel a sense of duty to them, and leaving them made me feel really bad because I brought them over to eXp. Now, I'm not talking about, 2, 3, 500 people that I brought at eXp. It was only, I think at the height, 20 people, and it was really about 5 to 10 that were personal friends or producing agents that either called or we, got coffee all the time. So that was another fear of mine, of bringing these people to eXp, saying, come join us, have fun with us over here. And now I'm the one that's like, hey, I'm thinking about leaving where I brought you to. And then the last fear that I had, being the leader over here, is making the decision to move the team to a different brokerage, right? One of the things about being a leader is looking ahead and looking towards the future, but at the same time, there is fear about making the wrong decision. If we make this huge move and we move over here, and like I mentioned earlier, it's a little bit worse than where we were, that's a fear of mine as a leader, because when it's just me, okay, I wasted maybe a week or two of my time, I wasted a couple $100, but as a team, I wasted all my team members' time. I wasted all the stress and anxiety that comes with it, the signs we have to switch switch, the money that we have to pay, there's so much more to it. So that was a big fear of mine, making sure that I'm making the right decision, not just for myself, but everybody in our team and all their families, making the switch that's going to elevate our business and actually be a step up in the brokerage. Now, after I got over my fears, after I considered my fears, talked to my wife, and I was like, you know what, I am going to start looking into different brokerages. This is where more of the aha moments came into play. You don't really know what you don't know until you know what you know, right? So at eXp, I was here for almost 5 years. I never had the desire to leave. I never had the desire to do deep dives and research into other brokerages. I always heard of other brokerages. I have friends at other brokerages. And every time we met or we talked about brokerages, I'm like, hey, what do you guys offer? Just curious. You know, we had conversations here and there, but I never really researched. I never really dug into YouTube videos such as these. I never looked at blogs. I never looked at Reddit and seeing real experiences from people that are at different brokerages. Now, again, this is not a dig at eXp. eXp is great. The corporate at eXp are super helpful. There's a lot of things that are positive about eXp. But as I started to look at other brokerages, I started to see a lot of the things that I wish were at my current brokerages. Just one thing, an example, eXp has a ton of resources, but it's very scattered all over the place with many different apps that you have to click. There's nothing wrong with that. I didn't know any difference, so it never really bothered me. But when I started to look at other places, they have everything in a centralized location where it's just one app, one login, and you can access everything. To me, I know that sounds very trivial, but to me, that's very important because when you're super busy or you have a bunch of clients or you have team members and you have so many things going on, having to go to all these different places or have all these different apps on your phone can be a little bit frustrating or just time consuming overall. So having something in a central location to me is way more efficient and way better for business. Now, this might not matter to you, but that's just one example of the many different things that I found at different brokerages, which made me go, that's actually pretty interesting. I didn't know that was out there. And as I looked into more and more brokerages, I started to see a pattern of other places just being more efficient and aligning more with the culture that I want to fit into. Again, I'm not at any other brokerage. I'm still at eXp Realty. So it's better on paper, but I've also reached out to people that have made the switch from eXp to other brokerages and asked their advice. And I always ask the same thing. Is it worth the hype? Because you read, all these great reviews or all these great things about X, Y, and Z brokerage, but once you've gone over there, is it actually what they make it seem like? And some people are like, you know what? It's maybe like 80% of what you read out there, but it's still worth it. But there are places that people are like, dude, it's exactly what I thought it would be and even better. So that just started to open my eyes to the possibility of leaving, in which where I'm at today, I'm really considering leaving, probably 1 foot out the door. So what are some options that I even considered? I considered almost every brokerage, right? But for me, it was very important to keep almost the same type of model that I have at eXp Realty. I definitely consider local boutique brokerages and bigger brokerages like, Keller Williams and Berkshire and all these big local brokerages. But for me, that wasn't something that I really wanted. I like the cloud-based brokerage for the following reasons. Something that I enjoy about cloud-based brokerages is revenue share. That's something that's important to me. And for my future, I love to help agents. And why not get compensated when you bring agents to a brokerage and you pour into them and help them grow their business? Another thing that I really like is stocks. The main thing with that is that we have a good amount of production. So whatever company or brokerage we would go to, we would definitely cap and then hit any incentive after that. Like at eXp, you have Icon, and other companies, you have different things. And although I love trophies, I have, my Icon trophies from eXp. What I enjoy more is getting rewarded somehow financially along with the trophies. Now, there's nothing wrong with just trophies. If that's all you like, cool, kudos to you. But I also like the stock awards that come with the trophies. Now, yes, there's stock that vests over 3 years, but if my cap at eXp is $16,000 and I reach Icon, which I have for the last 3 years, and I can make an additional $16,000 in stock, why not be part of a brokerage that rewards you financially for helping the company grow? So for me, the stock incentive was very important. So that basically told me that I had to go for another cloud-based brokerage. So most of the bigger cloud-based brokerage are Real, LPT, Epic, I believe, and there might be a couple little ones, but those are really the only three that I consider. So out of those three, I wanted to look at the culture that they had. I wanted to look at the technology that they implemented and how everything is structured with caps and splits and so forth. When I looked at Epic, for me, it was still too much of a up and coming brokerage. I didn't consider it fully. I considered mainly Real and LPT, and I'm really leaning way more towards Real because I just like the way that it's set up, the way that the splits are set up. I love their technology, and they also have revenue share and stocks. So how am I coming to a decision, and what am I doing today? I am still considering everything. Yes, I'm highly leaning towards one brokerage over another, and that's probably Real Broker, but I'm considering everything. I'm still consuming a ton of content online, whether it's eXp versus LPT or LPT versus Real and Epic and all these different brokerages. I'm considering their technology, what they offer, everything that I can consume so that I know and be educated on the move as a leader to make the decision to move my team to whatever brokerage it is, that it's gonna be a step up and not just a lateral move. And usually I move pretty fast, so it's not gonna take me long to make this move. I know a lot of times people take a long time to make change, and me personally, I'd like to just rip the band-aid. I typically live by ready, fire, aim instead of ready, aim, fire. Yes, you need to get ready 10 to 20%, and then you just need to fire and kind of go in a direction and fix and aim as you go. So that's just my personality. So probably by the next time I have a video out, I will already have moved or let you know, hey, I made a decision to move this or that brokerage. So that's why I'm thinking about leaving eXp Realty, kind of what led up to the decision to leave, places that I'm considering. And, if you're in the same boat, if you are feeling like you're in a stale place in your business, again, it's not going to be the broker that's going to make you successful. Yes, there are brokerages that have better training. There's brokerages that have better culture. So it might make a little bit of a difference. But if you're selling X amount of houses and reaching your goals and you're just feeling stuck and you need something a little bit better, don't be scared of change. Don't be scared of changing to a different brokerage that might give you a little better support, that might give you a little better resources. And if you're considering moving to a different brokerage, or maybe I said a lot of things that resonated with you and you want to bounce ideas off of somebody, reach out to me, hit me up with a DM on social media. I would love to help you out. I enjoy helping realtors grow their business and just helping people in general. So many have given to me as a new agent. I love giving back to other agents, whether you're a seasoned agent trying to get into social media or a new agent trying to figure things out. Just hit me up. So that being said, until next time, take care and God bless.